Alright, so in this one, we are going to be doing my top 10 list as of the beginning of Legends Fest Part 1. I would very highly doubt this changes in any big mannerism from right now until Part 2 does begin. Obviously, Part 2 should have very good units. I mean, last year, technically, VT was a little bit of an underwhelming character. They didn't even, they made top 10? I think they were like number 10. Maybe like 11 to like 13 / number 10 for a lot of people, VT. But they just weren't as good as they could have been, right? Similar to Orange Piccolo on release with the anniversary. I think he was also barely top 10 there. But I don't think there's much else I have to say. Let's just kind of get into it. I will say this one thing beforehand is that this is very difficult. The 6 through 10 area is very difficult. And matter of fact, number 10 itself has 2 units. And I'm going to explain why. But yeah, let's just dive in. So number 10. 10A, as I'm calling it, and then 10B. Now, oh boy, okay, I know, Orange Piccolo, wow, Orange Piccolo made it. Movies got buffs, makes sense. Wow, Piccolo Gogeta made it, wow, makes sense. Movies got buffs. So let me explain why I have Orange Piccolo 10A and Gogeta / Piccolo 10B, because I do think there is one little gap that makes, in my opinion, Piccolo at least greater than Gogeta / Piccolo in an overall circumstance, right? So what that would be is that with Piccolo, you are forced to use his character, correct? You're forced to use him, bring him into the matches, do little combos, and then do the green cards. And I'm not saying that's inherently terrible, but what that does, and this is, I would say, not even disputable, is it takes away your damage because your team is Beast Gohan, Janemba, and then that third, whether it be Piccolo or Piccolo / Gogeta, right? What it does is it takes away your damage because you're forced to do damage, or not forced to do damage, but you're forced to do actions with Piccolo. A lot of times you're doing combos with Piccolo because you're just getting those green cards mid-combos, right? And you're, in overall sense, losing out on that damage. What Piccolo does, he doesn't have to do shit. In pre-rival state, he just doesn't have to exist. He doesn't have to exist in the entire sequence. If he does come in, okay, pop that main, get a full team heal. Obviously, Piccolo getting his gauge gives similar support effects, but you don't have to use Piccolo in pre-revival state. There's no prerequisite to him to make his orange state better because you use his Power Awaken state. And for me, because what you care about and how you win a match is you kill the opponent's characters, you need damage, right? So what this does in my mind is make Piccolo better off, especially because Orange, I don't think there's a gap between Orange and Gogeta if you're comparing those two, because I'm comparing Power Awaken to Piccolo and the usage that's forced, and Piccolo's a lot more forced usage. But Orange Piccolo to Gogeta, I would say Gogeta's a little safer, maybe? They both have blast armor. Piccolo does have a counter green card versus a stop time. I think a counter green card in an overall sense probably is a lot safer, because let's say you're in a 1v2. Okay, you get Vanish back by having that counter green card. They're kind of scared. They might think, oh shit, I don't want to do another combo. So they might play a little bit more passive. But Gogeta, in turn, it does also have a ranged blue card, which makes it a lot easier to catch people. You could just kind of throw that shit out then into a rush. And if you're in a 1v1 setting, what can they do? They're screwed. So I don't think there's much difference between those two, but I do think the comparison of Orange Piccolo and Power Awaken state to Piccolo, there is a difference to where you're not forced to use his Piccolo. While you can obviously use him, you're going to use him for the cover change, okay? While you're debuffing their damage inflicted, their card draw speed, then you're kind of ending the combo a little faster. Piccolo, he's doing those green cards while in the neutral state, right? A lot of times it's in neutral or while he's in combo. And again, you're taking away damage from the other characters of Beast and Janemba, and those two, Ultimate Gohan / Beast, hits very hard in Ultimate state and Beast state. And then Janemba, Janemba, he hits hard in every state, just every sequence of the match, frame 1, 150 counts in. So I feel that Piccolo has just a teensy bit more value just because you're not forced to make the damage from your main damage dealers be secondary. And Piccolo, you are just a little bit more forced to do that. Again, if they're 10A, 10B, it probably goes to say you can use either or. But my personal preference would be Piccolo over Gogeta. Again, I'm not calling either of them bad. They do barely make the top 10, but I'm not calling either of them bad here. I just do think in my sequences, I much prefer having a character where I'm not forced to use the subpar damage dealer, because he is the worst damage dealer of the 3, Piccolo, over Piccolo, and I do see Piccolo's value as just more than in that early game sequence, in that pre-revival sequence. Again, in a transform state, revival state, I think they're basically equal. Maybe Gogeta edges out a little bit, but it's so like minuscule, it wouldn't make a difference to this like 10A, 10B thing here. So that's number 10. Again, the 6 through 10 area is pretty tough. Even 1/2 is pretty tough, but there's that. I need a sip of coffee after that. That was a long explanation, but next we will see units falling down. Number 9 here for me is going to be LF Cell. Yeah, this guy, I mean, the very simple logic is, okay, yellow's dropped, so purple goes down. I know he does extra yellow. I know 40% extra. I get it. Trust me, get it. I know it's also not enough. That's also what I know. And his main team, both his main teams, matter of fact, do not have a protector for him, right? Obviously, you do have LF17, but that's not good enough protection. LF17 being what he does do in his, I guess, safety environment to like make the debuff stuff, and the Gamas aren't really defensive. They're more durable than defensive. You know, there's a difference there. Durability being that you could heal a lot more, kind of just like retain a decent bit of health. Your defense being that you can actually soak up hits. Units really can't soak up hits for the most part in this game. I'd say like 3 or 4 that can, but they don't even do it too effective to where they would be here, right? You would obviously see them here if they could. But Cell, androids went down. Regen went down. Because what they need is a character to beat Gohan. They don't really have that. They also need a character to beat AGF. They don't really have that. Again, they do not have a red. They do not have a blue that's good enough on their own individual damage basis to do these things. Obviously, on Regen, that's different because they have Janemba. But then you have Evo Kaioken. You have, with Gohan, you have Orange Piccolo / Piccon Gogeta. So every single time there's a red, they're protected by a green. And every single time there's a yellow, well, androids and Regen don't have red, so that yellow is just free to roam around. And I do think that just has to drop Cell. This is a very far fall, I agree, but these are very strong units. Every single unit I release is probably within top 20. I know Gotenks is being the worst one. Obviously, he's not here. You can see AGF is here. He's here for a reason, because you do have 11 characters, and, well, 2 of them are placed in number 10 there. So you can see AGF will get some respect here, but yeah, Cell, this guy, he's still very good. It's just, you know, again, yellows drop, purple drops. I mean, the simplest math just exists, and that's the simplest math for me here. Now, continuing on, I do have a little toss-up. I don't know if I'm 100% certain on this. I'm more like a 70-30 on what's going on here, but this one here, for 7 through 8, I think it's actually interchangeable. If you were to say this character or that character, I wouldn't disagree with you. I wouldn't even blame you. I'd be like, okay, I couldn't even tell myself personally at some point. So yeah, just a preference on that. But number 8, I'm still trying to determine which one I want to put where. Okay. Number 8's the Gamas. Now, number 7, just to point out, will be AGF here. The reason I have AGF just a tad bit higher is just because Unireps, this guy is him, right? This character is doing everything he wants to do, but obviously the Gamas are still good. It's just the Gamas, their protection is the same protection as AGF, so it comes down to individual basis, because again, AGF runs with LS17, right, and Evo Kaioken, and then Gamas run with LS17, and then Cell. So it comes down with individual basis, and my preference in the individual basis would be AGF. His burst damage is really good, his double paralyzed thing he can get, very good. His vanish back on main, very good. His 50% situation, he gets below 50% health. He destroys enemy hand. He's destroying Dragon Balls. This guy reminds me of like a modern, and it's still not even fully accurate, but a modern green Angel Golden Frieza we had with the Dragon Ball destruction, with the amount of damage he can just burst out and do completely arbitrarily, stupidly high. Like, this guy is very good, especially that below 50% thing where he just makes an entire, like, he makes almost every combo in the game just stop. Like, you're done. No more. Okay, got me below 50%. I'll heal it. Okay, I'm out of here. And then he beats the ever-living shit out of you when he comes back in. Like, this character is beyond fucking crazy. I think he's actually the best 1% unit in the game. You could see Ginyu is not here for a reason, because, well, Ginyu, well, there's new yellow, so purple falls down again. That's my logic here, so there's the logic there. But Gamas, not trying to downplay them. I'm really not. I'm just saying that there is some sequence where, you know, when UVB was used a lot more, androids still couldn't do shit. I even said it back then. You know, androids does not inherently stop UVB. UVB is very free against most teams, and androids was one of those teams even then, a few months ago, and that has not changed with a red unit of UVB, with, you know, Ultimate Gohan, with Evo Kaioken existing. These are all very dominant units that I wouldn't say are always free, but they're in a lot, you know, better mannerism of just kind of having their own protection. I don't think Androids has the same protection that these characters do have that are just newer, and UVB is just UVB, so he's just obviously destroying everything because of all those debuffs he can do. So that is number 8 and 7. Number 6, speaking of UVB, I do have him very high up here. I do think Fusions is a very competent team. It's not a team you see that often, I would say. I think you're seeing right now Unireps a lot, movies, and that's about it. I mean, Fusions is like probably the 3rd to like 5th most used team. I'm seeing probably Androids more than Fusions here, but UVB's main team right now is obviously going to be Fusions. Future does not have a, I wouldn't say competent 3rd. They don't have a perfect 3rd, right? Sort of Hope, not perfect. Ultra Rose, not perfect. So kind of just like, you know, scrounging around for that 3rd unit. Either you're going to leader slot somebody, or you're just going to run on Fusions with Piccolo, Gogeta, and then the new Gotenks also run alongside UVB. But yeah, bro is getting more support now, right? Because he has that new Gotenks on that cover chain, 30% support. And from even there, you have a lower sub count by a million on that Gotenks, so it does get UVB even more support going forward. And this guy, he doesn't necessarily struggle. I mean, you can't see there is going to be 2 blue units that would be higher than him, which makes sense. LS17 has very good aging, but we already know, we've went over this a billion times. LS17 does not tank UVB. LS17 does not tank these red units. He cannot. He's good in his utility sense, but his defense sense, he does not have any. Janemba's a similar thing. He does not really defend. He just is, you know, fucking annoying. So UVB is not like, okay, these blues are hurting him to lower him down. It's more that these new units are just as good as they are, to where UVB is lower. And his home, again, Fusions, while it is a good team, Gotenks is not the most ideal unit. They don't have a perfect 3rd, unfortunately. Again, Gotenks is fine. Piccolo, Gogeta is good, but there's no perfect, like, fusion core. It's kind of just like whatever we just got that's new, that's our core. And then here's UVB. Again, he's one of the newest characters on Fusions, right? So I would say he's just lacking on a team basis. UVB probably individually, I could argue he's maybe top 3, but again, this is a 3v3 game, so you can't just say, you know, top 3 individually, because again, a 3v3 game here. But I think number 6 is very high for this character. It's very good for this character. This is not something you'd expect from a, I guess maybe you'd expect it, but, you know, comparably to Goku Frieza, you wouldn't think UVB was going to be there, because Goku Frieza seems so far and ahead of their own, you know, anniversary because the buff they got. But no, UVB is still right up there. I think UVB might even be a little bit downplayed. Don't see a lot of respect on him right now, but I promise you, he's still him. This guy does not struggle, really. It's just, again, his team is not the most ideal thing. I have a 10B character here. I have a top 20 character with him. Obviously, he's going to struggle a little bit because of that, but again, him individually, he is really not even touched on aging. It's kind of impeccable, really. But the top 5, I think people care about this a lot more than the bottom, though I think Piccolo and Piccolo Gogeta is definitely something people do want to hear about. I hope I explained it well. The top 5, though, I think number 5 goes to LF Android 17. While Androids did get hurt, and I've been mentioning it over and over again, Unireps buffs, that's all we ever get. Unireps got a buff, and obviously that makes LS17 gain his value back up. You could even say, because Beast Gohan dropped, okay, here's a red unit, so LS17 goes up a little bit, okay, but you have Evo Kaioken drop, so he has to go down a little bit. Well, that makes it just a moot point, right? So he just stays at this threshold where he kind of was already. I think maybe he was like 4 last time. He wasn't much different, to be honest. I know he was top 5 last time, if not higher, because Androids was one of the best teams in the game, with it being Regen Androids prior to Legends Fest being one of the best teams in the game. So it would make sense for him to be in the same threshold of like 4 or 5. Maybe goes down a little bit because new units are just so good, but he's still in this top tier threshold. He is core on Unireps, he's core on Androids, he's a leader slot character on any team in the game, honestly, because he's a range type. So any range type unit that wants to run alongside something, they're running alongside LS17, whether it be them leader slot or him leader slot, they're running alongside LS17, right? He is still that foundational character, a very good aging unit. I really don't have to say much else. Again, he's more designed for utility, and if you don't get that, then, well, shucks. But if you do, I think it's very obvious LS17 has been a very nice addition to the game on his aging sense. Again, gives a future Gohan vibe to him here, And that is why they are scared to fully Zenkai buff him, because they do not want to see him age even better. Future Gohan got the same thing where they Zenkai Yellow Goku Black. Okay, we're never fucking benching Yellow Goku Black, so it's almost like he had no Zenkai buffer ever either. And then eventually he got aged out, right? You know, after he got a plat, after he was back in the meta with his plat, this character aged like a god, and LS17 is on that track record again, being top 5 with like a 10-11 month, you know, dropping threshold. That's really fucking good, right? That's not something to be, I mean, downplayed, honestly. But continuing on, number 4. So number 4, the pinnacle of the last, how many months was it? 6 months? 5 months? Something like that. Is now lowered to hell. Goku Frieza, yeah. I just think with reps, the best setup for it is going to be blast reps, right? You got AGF, you got Evo Kaioken, you got LS17. Just very good synergy, very good safety, got a lot of utility in its own right with the, again, combo disruption from AGF. You got LS17 with the debuffing bullshit. You got Evo Kaioken with their main ability ceiling, their Dragon Ball destruction, I believe they have somewhere in their kits. They have a team utility more than self-utility, self-utility being like vanish back and shit. But they got a lot of team utility on blast reps. And this is also prior to me even seeing God Topo get that Zenkai, because God Topo, I'm not saying he's going to be core, but I'm saying God Topo will be ideal bench, which would actually bump Evo Kaioken even higher, because right now, 99% of the time, Evo Kaioken is run without a Zenkai buffer, and it's a tag unit. They are quite literally designed to be Zenkai buffed at least 1 to 2x, and right now Evo Kaioken has 0x, and despite that, you can see they're going to be top 3, right? But Goku Frieza, I just don't think they have a particular perfect home. I mean, they're still good. I'm not going to say they're bad, but I see a little bit more of their flaw kind of just showing out. One, their team. They don't have a perfect home. Once again, I said Blast Reps was better, and it is better. And then, I'm not going to say Goku's slow, but, I mean, you know, Janemba is going to be up here. He builds up very fast, similar to Goku. It's just, you have this green unit, Evo Kaioken. You have other durable characters that maybe make it so Frieza's presence, because Goku is the build-up character, isn't as oppressive as it once was, I guess is the wording. Yeah, not to put them down or anything, top 4 is still very solid. It's just, you don't need to run this character. You have a green-yellow synergy that exists on 1, if not 2 teams right now. You have, even more so than that, just no real positioning for them to exist. Like, strike reps is fine, but you can tell they really want blast reps, and I don't think the solo carry potential of Goku Frieza is prominent enough, especially because Goku does have to ramp up every single time, is strong enough to make them higher than this. I just think the team sake of the other 3 units that will be above them is just so much more stronger, and it gives them more valid reasoning to be higher than Goku Frieza, in my opinion. I know people will be like, wow, 4, huh? That is a lot lower than, you know, Goku Frieza had been in the past. And yes, most people would see them lowest at 2 for, you know, everything prior to Legends Fest. But with Legends Fest, they did something right. They didn't make any unit overpowered. They just made them better, if not team-wise better than these other units that have been out, which is obviously a very good thing. Number 3 here, I do think, is Evo Kaioken. Obviously, with them releasing, they have expunged a lot of silliness, right? LS17 gets a little bit hurt because of that. They have also made it to where, obviously, they can tag out, so purples get a little bit hurt as well. Clearly, purples gain a little value because Vegeta's side is green, but they also do lose some value because there is protection on their team with that green-yellow. Obviously, again, I am mentioning AGF here. But yeah, Evo Kaioken is just, I mean, they're a very good steamroll character. If you know what you're doing, I do think they take a little bit more brain power, like 1% more brain power than Beast Gohan, because Beast Gohan takes like half a percentage of brain power. But I do think if you know what you're doing, you can see Evo Kaioken prosper, especially again next week when they get a Zenkai buff. Not even next week, in a few days from now when they get a Zenkai buff with God Topo. I think you'll clearly see that their potential is even higher. I mean, could I put them higher? I'd be very shocked if they'd be up to 1-2 with the characters that will be there. Obviously, Beast or Janemba in that 1-2 spot. But for now, very, very impressed with them. Even have them lower stars, 6 stars, and I've still seen potential where they can just instantly clear matches. if you just kind of get stuff going. I do think the early game is a little bit troublesome, where they do struggle, because if they don't have a green card, how can they get that gauge? They can't. They literally can't get that gauge, right? You need to have a green card, and that's when they pop off. And I think the inconsistency of that does hurt them a tad bit. But it's okay. I have a green card, boom, I'm popping, I'm going crazy, and I have teams that can make me a green card as well. LF17 does a blue card, makes a green card. AGF, I believe, makes a green card, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So you have good situations there where they have synergy with their team that actually does help them do their job, because they really want that green card early game. Late game, they don't care, because they're getting their gauge much more consistently, because they have everything already built up. And once they're built up, boom, they just keep going and going and going and going. A comparison to this character, I don't even know. I guess you could compare it to Ginyu Goku, where they just kind of keep going, but they can get more consistent cover null. About less card draw speed, but again, more consistent cover null. And with double card draw speed, you're still going to pop off and just go berserk and crazy. And especially because you're a tag unit, they can't maintain their advantage or their type neutral as well as you can, because I'm tagging out every 3 to 4 cards. They're swapping every 10 timer counts. 3 to 4 cards does not take 10 timer counts. It takes like 4 to 5. So you will always have a situation where you can maintain advantage if you are just steamroll, comboing, and they do that very effectively, and that is their whole entire identity. They do that very well. Will mention, though, a flaw on them. Again, I mentioned this a little bit before. Their self-utility doesn't really exist. They're staying in power. Well, they have blast armor on strikes. That's very nice. No way to get vanish back. They're just overall, like, their combo ending when they can't infinite without a green card. Once again, it comes back to that just basic issue of no green card. You will see them kind of just be, meandering around, hopefully getting something to like work out, but that's far and few between. You don't see that a lot of the time. You just see that some of the time. Like, I've seen it on my own and against people to where they will just struggle in some sequences, but again, that's just early game. Sometimes it's not, like, I would say it's like a 30% chance that happens in most matches. So a little bit of a problem with them there, but units do need to have flaws, so I kind of don't mind it at all. But yeah, number 3 for Evo Kaioken there, and now the top 2. Number 2, I do have Ultra Janemba. Yes, so number 1 is Gohan Ball Legends. Are you surprised? I'm fucking not. I actually really am, because I did not think Janemba or Goku Frieza or any of these characters would be touched for at least till the Ultra, but yeah, Janemba number 2. The reason I lowered Janemba is because you have the safety net, right? 1, you have a new green that came out, so Janemba has to get hurt. I already mentioned that regen does get hurt because you have Evo Kaioken, AGF. Okay, how we deal with AGF? We can't. Cell's going to die in 2 cards. Boom. Now it's Evo Kaioken dealing with Janemba. While I obviously can't neutral, it is a lot easier for Evo Kaioken to deal with Janemba than anybody else. And then again, you have Gohan. Okay, if you're running on the hybrids, you're going to use Cape Gohan. I'm not saying he's like the god of the entire game, Cape Gohan, but he is very wall-like and do his job very well. Okay, if you're running Gohan on a movie setup, okay, you have Piccolo or Piccolo. All right, so you have a lot of protection. Again, more greens. If you're running on Sun Family, okay, you have Rev UI or some shit like that. Again, you have protection of green units, which obviously has to make Janemba fall just a smidge, a tad, just a micro crumb. And Beast, I do think, has his own self-utility, being just a tad bit better than Janemba just overall. But I'll get on that when we get to Beast. But Janemba, yeah, goes down a little bit. I'm pretty sure I had Janemba 2, 3, 1, 2. It goes down a little bit, goes up a little bit, whatever. But he stays in positioning of top 3. That's what really matters. I don't think Janemba can be lowered than anything besides this. Again, the only thing I would have a debate with, obviously, is 10, because 10 is literally a 10A, 10B. And then 7 through 8, you could argue either or. I, again, had the preference of AGF because, again, featured boost and all these things kind of carry him, which I already explained on. But nothing else here I would have actually be debatably swappable at all. But yeah, Janemba, number 2, still is very good. No downplay on him. It's just another character is better. And that character is number 1, with it being LF Beastie Boy Gohan. Well, Ultimate Gohan that transforms into Beast Gohan. Will say he has a flaw, as characters do. I do think Janemba also has a flaw where his neutral is slower, right? Beast Gohan, he is clearly in Ultimate Gohan, which is a flaw, right? He's not, frame 1 a god, but I do not think these units were made in the intention of just power creeping the game. No, this Gohan is not the same Beast Gohan that happened 12 months ago that reset the entire game. This Gohan, what he is is just a unit that's caught up to the game, and he has a good allowance of teams. I was very skeptical of putting this guy number 1 just early on when I first saw his release, even if I knew his kit looked number 1, just because I didn't think, okay, hybrids kind of missing that third unit, right? You got decent, with Gotenks or Cape Gohan, and then that third could be either or of them, but that's a 1v3 team. You can't really do a 1v3 team right now. It's just not a consistent methodology that works. But movies, I kind of underestimated the value it would have and how good it would be. Well, I do think Unireps is a slightly better team than Movies. Movies is very good in their individual units, with obviously Beast right there, Janemba right there, and then that third being Piccolo or Super Gogeta. Obviously, Unireps being Evo Kaioken, LS17, and AGF. You could see overall, you would think, technically that's a better team, which it is. It's just the individuality of Movies is very strong, as you could probably assume, and then the safety net with Revival, it's just the cherry on top, right? But Gohan, he has the LS17 type gauge in his prior transformation. It's actually even better because he literally doesn't even have to have his allies be hit by those big moves, and then the gauge builds up. Like, it's crazy to me that he gave that situation, because LS17, again, his is not even a year old, his gauge, and they power crept his gauge to an extent, which okay, got it. And then once he transforms, this guy feels like he has infinite blues, he has infinite vanishes. I mean, it just is, it's just silly. This guy doesn't need to be Zenkai buffed, he doesn't need to be supported. I mean, if you run Piccolo, you're getting a little bit of support there, but like, you don't need it. He actually is supporting allies by, what is it, 20-30% blast attack for some reason, but yeah, he is doing that, so that's kind of cool, I guess, for Piccolo Gogeta, because they're technically more range based. But yeah, this character just does it all, equipment wise. It's not hurting him, obviously, especially on hybrids, but on a movie setup, this guy is balling, and there's really no, I wouldn't say there's no contention, there's really no situation I can't see him being number 1 right now. Like, I think Janemba and Gohan are very close, where it's like, I'm like a 95% on Gohan, and I'm like a 70% on Janemba. And then comparing like Janemba to Evo Kaioken, I would say I'm much more like okay, Janemba's like a 95% number 2, Evo Kaioken is like 100% number 3. Like, I'm not very close on those two, but I do think, because I'm more comparing the individual on those two at that point, because again, their teams are so close in their goodness. But I do think Beast just kind of gaps it. Again, he has just the safety options of double green units on every fucking team. Well, double greens, just any green unit on any fucking team he can exist on, and that gives him the safety to deal with Janemba, to deal with LS17, deal with these characters. And again, all you want to do with Janemba is just pop his gauge early, got my green card, or rather green unit. Okay, we tanked that, and then from there, Beast could one-shot Janemba. I mean, it's a thing that can exist. It's not like it's difficult to happen. I've done it a million times already, and this unit's been out only a few days. So, yeah, this character is just way too strong. I mean, what else can I say? Beast Gohan, I mean, well, way too strong is probably a little bit of hyperbole there, but he is way stronger than any Gohan we have had within the last 11 months. Can't say 12 months because Beast, but 11 months. This Gohan has resurgence the name of Gohan Ball Legends, as we usually have every year. We have had it happen this year. I do think this could easily change with the new Ultra that will come, maybe even the Part 2 LF/LFs that could happen, who knows, but for now, Part 1, yeah, it has changed up the formulation of Top 10 a great amount, as you could assume, because, well, you see 2 of the characters here are in the top fucking 3. So, yeah, you go back a little bit, you see Regen as that top team, you see Androids as that number 2 team. That is not the case anymore. It is now Movies and Unireps being those top 2 teams. But to go over my top 10, it is going to be Ultimate/Beast Gohan at number 1. Do have Janemba number 2, Evo Kaioken number 3, Goku Frieza number 4, LS17 number 5, UV number 6, AGF number 7, Gamas number 8, Cell number 9, and Piccolo number 10A, Piccolo Gogeta number 10B. Yes, I do not think it is 11 for Piccolo Gogeta. I actually do think it is 10B. There is a very big difference there, because I think it is a little bit of slander to put them below when they are almost the same exact thing in a overall sense of what they can do in the match. What do you guys think of my top 10 list? And I'll see you guys in the next one.